Hey guys, we're talking Power Rangers, and this is actually the third in a series of video reviews where I'm reviewing the Altaya Megazord. So I'm going to link the first one for you right over here, and otherwise we're going to be taking a look at the articulation and design of this one, as well as comparing it to the other Triceratops Zords that you can find. So stick around and we're going to get right into it. And here's the Triceratops. And as I've done with black and pink, here's the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered Blue Rangers, so that you can see how it scales together. And like with the other two, I want to take a look at how this looks compared to the official materials of how it looks in the show. So doing a side-by-side comparison of the front view, you can see that a lot of the cues are there, but there's still a lot of differences too. Just from like how the horns sit, the fact that there are no holes in the horns, because that looks like that's where some of the laser shot out in the show. The eyes look a bit different in terms of shape. I think on here looks a little bit bigger than what we see on the picture, and even the shape up here of the yellow part seems to be just a little bit different, as well as the color even being a bit different too. Switching to the back perspective, and I'll also pull out the tail, and you can see that like the tank feet things look very, very different, obviously, and kind of a similar story. But I think the most interesting thing to note is how much shorter it appears in the picture than it does right here in real life. So yeah, what you're seeing on the picture, it looks a little bit shorter than our kind of longer robot right here. And otherwise, a lot of like the design cues are similar, but still quite some differences. So our wheels, you can see that they don't pop the way they do on the picture, but that could be just a matter of like adding some paint detail to that. We have a few more spots in the pictures that we're not seeing details on here, and those are things that you could potentially add with paint or maybe stickers. Otherwise, you do get these kind of gray things right here. The design for these parts, I'm not sure if these are some kind of symbols or just kind of decoration for the robot itself. And also, I think even a bigger note is just the fact that how much taller that it sits in the original versus what we're seeing right here. And finally, our top view, and I would say quite a few more differences in terms of like lack of detail. So there's no red in here at all like you're seeing in the picture. I think this should have some black paint on there as well. And a few more details like that I think would make this look a lot nicer if they had it. Starting from our left side, this is our original release Triceratops, and then we have the Bandai Legacy. I only have the black and gold on loan from a friend. This is our Soul of Chogokin, our cheaper Hasbro, our Zap Hasbro, and then our mini plot, of course. And you can see how different they all look. Especially interesting to note is how like on a lot of these, like you can't even see, like they don't even have claws for the feet. It's just kind of a thing that's just there. And that's even true on the Bandai one. So not even any like molding to distinguish like the claws that you're seeing very prominently over here. Now you're definitely seeing it over here on our Soul of Chogokin, and we'll get into more than that into just a second. We do see that on the Hasbro cheaper one, and technically on the Zap one too, but once you lift the head up like that, then you would be able to see it a little bit better. And of course, you're not going to see that on the mini block because it's just so tiny. The other really interesting thing is that, so on the original, it actually has wheels to roll on, as you can see right here, but our Altaya version does not. Our Bandai Legacy has molding as if it's a wheel, but there is no actual wheel. Our Soul of Chogokin has no wheels either. Neither does our cheaper Bandai or our Zap Bandai. But even our mini plot actually does have rolling wheels, which is kind of hilarious. Now, if you've been following the video so far, you'll know that the Soul of Chogokin is basically what the Altaya became. It is pretty much exactly the same in nearly every way that you can see. So all the design cues are pretty much exactly the same. And so what's neat about the Soul of Chogokin one is that it actually expands like that, and then when it's going to go into Megazord form, you're going to actually close that in like that. And just so you can see, the sides close in just like that. So you can see how much it's slimmed down. I think I don't really like how when you pull out the sides that I feel like it needs to click into place, because it's hard to know if it's like fully out or not. It's kind of weird, and it also kind of keeps wanting to go back in as I handle it, so that's a little bit frustrating too. And I will show this more when I do the Megazord video, but the wheels actually, just like the Soul of Chogokin, will actually click in like that in order to help consolidate even more to turn it into the leg for the Megazord. Now this actually has two features that the Soul of Chogokin does not have. And the first one, if you've seen the other two videos, is that the eyes light up in the head. So I'm gonna just go ahead and press the button first. I have to press and hold. And there you go. You can see that the lights came on and it is definitely both eyes. And like the Mastodon, you have to press and hold in order to turn on and off, even though it actually does have the ability to rapidly blink its lights. And that you have to activate via the remote. So with the remote, I'm going to turn it off, and then 16 will turn it on, and 17 will make it blink rapidly, just like that, and off again. Here is your micro USB port for charging, and of course the power button. Now the other standout feature of this that even the Soul of Chogokin does not have is the fact that we can finally actually replicate what they do in the show, which is having the horns actually shoot out with chains to wrap up or attack a giant monster. And that's so cool, and both sides you can actually do that with. I don't know how much there is to say about it other than like, this is just such a neat thing. Now, the only problem is that these don't click in either, so if at some point you turn the head upside down or something like that, then these will just come out. But the chains are fully attached, so not a whole lot to worry about, but if it were to fall out and then you not realize it and somehow it gets smashed, then obviously that'll be a problem. And as far as our articulation goes, you can see that our mouth is going to open and close just like that. And then our head will actually be able to turn kind of like that. Same with the other side. And of course, because when it switches to the leg mode for the Megazord, then you could actually have them look up just like that. Otherwise, it's gonna be the tail, and it doesn't do much more than just kind of go back and forth like that. But of course, the cannons can come out just like that, and otherwise you just fold that guy right back in there. And yeah, so let's go ahead and weigh this guy. And as we did in the other two videos, we're gonna weigh the original one first, and this one comes out to a 4.5 ounce weight. Weighing our Soul of Chogokin, which is definitely gonna be a little bit heavier, we're looking at 8.3 ounces. And finally, the Altaya, as you can see, is a 2 pound, 11 ounce behemoth, which is awesome. Very heavy indeed, and I'm really excited to see just how heavy all of them combined together are going to be. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and otherwise, I'm going to post the next video here, or otherwise more Power Rangers.